Hey, good morning. What's up, Ben? Oh my word, that athlete.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there?
Hey, good morning. You can come in and find a seat. You can find in a second. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Schaefer, where's that? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear?
Come on in, grab a seat.
Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And
hey, welcome in, grab a seat.
Someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come.
Welcome. You guys are looking good. Ready for another day at Castaway.
Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun
Welcome. Keep on coming in. Find a seat.
rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found.
Dr. Dave. Keep on coming in, finding a seat. We'll get started here in a minute.
You will be found.
What's up, Jonathan? Okay. I think we are about ready to get started. I hope you guys had an amazing cabin challenge. We're going to change up the speed a little bit, and I want to welcome you again to Real Life. This is our second Real Life, and just like yesterday, we are going to start with a couple video clips, so we can get those started.
me. I told you there'd be beach.
Yeah. What's going on?
Give us a smile, Blondie.
Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
Ooh, love that.
Wow.
I feel kind of ill at ease. Like, I don't know the word for it, but I'm conscious, but it's myself that I'm conscious of.
I'm not getting any of that. I feel what can only be described as admired, but not ogled. And there's no undertone of violence.
Mine very much has an undertone of violence. Oh, look, a construction site. We need that good feminine energy. Ladies, yoo-hoo!
Oh, you got fries with that? If I said you had a hot body, would you hold it against me?
Is that a mirror in your pocket?
Baby, you are an
I can see myself in your shorts.
I don't know exactly what you meant with all of those little quips, but I'm picking up on some sort of entendre.
Ugh, come on. I'm not good enough. Come on, Riley. Get it together. Come on, Riley. Get it together. I'm not good enough. You have to score, Riley, or this will all have been for nothing. Anxiety, you're putting too much pressure on her. Sadness!
Joy, help! Come on, we can do this!
It's not working!
It's anxiety!
Anxiety, stop! You don't get to choose who Riley is. You need to let her go. I'm a good person.
Turns out, not everyone in school thought I was cool like a pickle in the freezer.
What a loser.
What a weirdo.
Kid's a smash.
He's a freak.
Mom.
Duncan. Duncan, are you sleeping?
No.
Let me ask you something. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you are? Duncan, I'm asking you how you see yourself. Scale of 1 to 10.
I don't know.
I can't hear you, bud. You have to speak up.
I don't know.
What don't you know? How you see yourself? You don't have any opinion. I'm just asking. Pick any number. Scale of 1 to 10. Just shout it out. Just say a number.
A 6.
A what?
A 6.
I think you're a 3. You know why I think you're a 3? You know what would make me say that?
No.
You don't know? You have no idea.
No.
You gotta speak up, buddy.
No.
Why would anything be wrong? I'm totally fine. Magic's fine. Luisa's fine. I'm totally not nervous.
Your eyes doing the thing.
I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is.
Okay.
I move mountains. I move churches. And I glow cause I know what my worth is.
Of course. I mean, hey, where are you going?
I don't ask how hard the work is. Got a rough and destructible surface. Diamonds and platinum. I find I'm the platinum. I take what I'm handed. I break what's demanded. But under the surface, I feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a 3-ring circus. Under the surface, was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't wanna fight Cerberus? Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can be of service. A throw or crack, the straw in the stack that breaks the camel's back. What breaks the camel's back? It's pressure like the drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. Whoa, pressure that'll tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. Whoa, give it to your sister's older. Give her all the heavy things we can't shoulder. Who am I if I can't run with the ball? If I fall to pressure like a drip, 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 and it won't let go. Whoa, pressure like a tick, tick, tick till it's ready to blow. Whoa, give it to your sister stronger. See if she can hang on a little longer. Who am I if I can't carry it all? If I falter.
All right, welcome again to Real Life. I said night one that Young Life is a place where we talk about things that matter. I hope you've taken advantage of that you have been honest, courageous, and authentic. And this is one more space where we get to do this. Last night, I shared with you about some counterfeit kings that we have in our lives. So let's bring those boxes back out. I shared about the ways that we have taken the crown off of Jesus' head, and instead we've put the crown on these counterfeit kings' heads. We've gone to these to give us a sense of significance, value, worth, and to find security and love. So I've asked Tasha to explain a little bit more about what we can expect today.
Yeah, hi. We're so glad to be back with you guys at Real Life. Just like yesterday, we're going to do this in a couple different ways. The song that you came into is part of this. The videos you just showed is part of this. You're going to have time with your cabin together again at the end to process it. And you're going to have some fun laminated sheets to do again if you want to. And we're also going to have photos on the screen. And most importantly, we're going to have our friends sharing from their lives, because is so helpful to hear other people voice what this has looked like for themselves to give us language for our own lives, because sometimes we're not sure yet. Sometimes it's the beginning of us starting to think about it. So we're going to welcome our friends back to the stage. Join me. Great. So we're going to dive in deeper with their lives. We're going to learn more about them. Jess, would you share with us, what was school like for you?
Yeah, I enjoyed school for the most part. There's a photo of me up on the screen. I think that's in 9th grade with 2 of my friends. I had good friends. I enjoyed playing soccer. I was well liked by my peers. I had always kept pretty good grades up until my parents got divorced. I had been an A student my whole life, but all of a sudden I was almost flunking a few of my classes. My parents' divorce was affecting me a lot more than I would have liked to admit. My motivation was at an all-time low, and I just couldn't bring myself to care about the solar system or about the order of operations in algebra when my family was breaking apart. It was a really challenging time for me where I kind of entered this escape mode, and instead of focusing on things that were important, like homework, I gravitated towards things that brought me comfort and distraction instead. One thing that I cared about a lot more than grades was dating. I remember a good friend saying to me early in high school, "Are you ever not in a relationship?" Pretty much from 6th grade on, I was either always dating someone, or I was talking to someone, or I had someone that I wanted to start talking to.
For me, I felt really partly social a lot, and I also felt isolated in some ways in school. In the time after my mom died, I remember the bell ringing, signaling the end of class, and I would just grab my bag, and I wouldn't socialize in the hallways and hang out. I would just head immediately towards my next class. My head would be down. I wouldn't be making eye contact with anybody. I would just be weaving through this sea of people, and just to make it to my next classroom. And yeah, as you can see, I was in school band, and thank God for school band. That was really one of the only social interactions that I had in school. But even though I knew a lot of people, and but there's like a part of me that still felt really alone, which sounds kind of odd, how you can be like surrounded by a bunch of friends, but still feel lonely. But that's how I felt.
I went to a big high school where lots of kids were really good at things like sports and school. At school, you were noticed if you were on a varsity sport, if you won state, if you were going to an Ivy League college. And you were also noticed if you were pretty, if you were loud and outgoing, or friends with the right people. And since I was pretty shy and quiet, I kind of blended into the crowd at school. I didn't have a ton of friends apart from my gymnastics team and some friends from classes, and I wanted to be the best at something so that I would be noticed and seen, and not just blend into the background. As I talked about yesterday too, a big part of school for me was this anxious feeling a lot of the time. I felt nervous to be called on in class. I was nervous before a gymnastics meet or in social situations. I kind of constantly felt this like tightness in my chest, or nervousness in my stomach if I had to do something in front of other people. I didn't want to say or do the wrong thing. I wanted to be noticed, but for being good at something and not for embarrassing myself.
School for me was good. I didn't really try too hard, and I got good grades. Teachers liked me, which was cool. But the thing that I remembered most about high school was the need to always be liked. Everywhere I went, Every class that I sat into, I wanted to sit with the right people. I wanted to make everybody laugh. I just always wanted to be liked.
Last night, I tried to put some flesh and bones on what it looks like, because it can be theoretical. Oh, we make these kings of our lives, counterfeit kings of our lives. But I tried to put some flesh and bones of what that really looks like in our lives. And so I think it'd be helpful if we could maybe have some stories and share from our friends up here on what that's looked like in their life. So what counterfeit kings did you turn to in high school, and what did that look like in your life?
I turned to the counterfeit king of approval in high school. Once I realized that I could get attention from guys, I couldn't resist chasing approval from them. I had never felt like I was quite good enough at anything before, and dating was the first place that I found that validation that I had always been craving. And it wasn't just about feeling liked, it was also about finding a sense of security. After seeing my parents choose not to love each other after 19 years of marriage, I had lost all of the security that previously was there. When my parents got divorced, I vowed to myself that I would never make my kids go through that, and that I would one day have a successful marriage. I wanted to find someone who would continue to choose me and give me the security that I was longing for. So I turned to the counterfeit king of approval.
I had a lot of sadness, and like, understandably so, because I lost my mom to cancer, and even though he was right there in the family room with me, I lost my dad to alcohol. I was just sad, and I was just tired of feeling sad, and so I would go to some distractions just to escape that. But I thought, well, I'm a good kid, so I can't be out like, smoking or drinking or doing anything illegal. So I'd stay at home and, I'd spend my time gaming, eating, and drumming. I would spend hours and hours at the drum set. And I felt like I really needed those things. I felt addicted.
Elaine and Nick, what did counterfeit kings look like for you growing up, and how did that impact you?
I feel like the first one for me was achievement, getting into the best college, winning sections, making it to state, getting a new skill in gymnastics. I thought that if I could just be good enough at something, then I would be noticed. I would be someone who had value and worth. The other one, which was really big for me, was appearance. I thought that if I was just pretty enough, people would like me, they would see me and notice me, they would want to be friends with me. Since I couldn't really change my physical appearance, I focused a lot on what I wore to school every day. I spent a lot of time planning my outfits and shopping. I just spent a lot of time on that, and when people told me that they liked what I was wearing or asked me where I got something, it made me feel like I was seen and noticed by them. Another thing that was big for me was body image. This did eventually lead to an unhealthy relationship with food and exercise. I wanted to be skinny because I thought that skinny was pretty, and I thought that I needed to be pretty in order to be loved.
So if you guys remember my story from yesterday when my brother snuck out of my room and left to go to that party by himself, I think right then was the moment that I subconsciously really was like, I need to figure out how to be liked. And so what I did is I became a chameleon. I became a social chameleon. And so if you guys don't know what that is, it's when you get into a social setting or a social group, you kind of just change the way that you act, the way that you move, the way that you talk, the things that you do to try to make people like you. And so that's what I did. So in high school, that is all I tried to do. I changed the way, every group that I was in, I changed the way that I talked, changed the way that I walked, change the things that I did, even change my appearance in some ways, just to try to be liked. And I specifically remember the first time that I remember doing this or noticed myself doing this was as I went into a group of friends that I started to get to know, and I acted one way. I said some things that I probably shouldn't have said, and I just dabbed everybody up, and I left that group. And then I went to a different group that was about 40 feet away, and I literally changed my posture, and I shook everybody's hand the right way, and I said the right things that they needed to hear. And then I walked away, and I was like, man, that was kind of weird. Yeah. So.
Thanks for sharing those with us. It's so helpful to start to see kind of the deeper effects of these kings in our lives and what it looks like to turn to them for all the things that we're looking for. So we'd love to hear from you guys. What was the impact of turning to these things on your life?
I quickly became frustrated with seeking approval from guys. I had so many failed attempts at relationships, and I was never the one ending things. Instead, I was always trying to hold on. A lot of these relationships never even made it past the talking phase, and each time that something ended, it chipped away at me a little bit. This pattern of rejection only led me to feel more like I wasn't enough. It made me wonder what was wrong with me, what I didn't have that the next girl they liked had. Eventually, I did get into a relationship that lasted more than a few weeks. I felt like I had found this validation and security that I had been longing for. Because of that, I put a lot of energy into this relationship. It was by far the most important thing in my life for 3 years. And then the summer before my sophomore year of college, I found myself in the same shoes as my high school self, getting broken up with yet again. The feeling of rejection that I had tucked away for the past 3 years crept in, and it stung a lot worse this time.
Man, I think like all of us up here, I felt some fulfillment having friendships. But man, I was frustrated that people are imperfect, and I couldn't find anybody that would really heal my pain. And as I was using gaming and food and the drums to try to distract myself, they'd always leave me wanting more, kind of like drinking salt water. It's like I have some, and then just a moment later, I'm thirsty again. And I mean, there's nothing, wrong, with these things I was doing. There's nothing wrong with gaming. There's nothing wrong with drumming. Well, it depends on who you talk to, probably, about drumming. There's nothing morally wrong with drumming, right? But I was using these things as I was really holding them as ultimate things in my heart. And but I could just justify it by just comparing it to something worse. It's like, well, at least I'm not out on the street, killing people. I'm just at home, just enjoying life. But I know distracting myself from what was really going on inside made things worse for me.
So senior year, I didn't get into my dream college, and I was devastated. It made me think, what did that say about me as a person? It kind of proved that I wasn't good enough. Another thing that proved this was my senior year. I didn't make it to state. I fell on my last floor routine, and again, made me question, what does that mean about me as a person? Kind of proving that I wasn't good enough. I didn't stand out for being good at something, and people still wouldn't know my name. The appearance side of things, what I saw in the mirror wasn't pretty enough, which would make me feel insecure. And I just wished that I looked like the other girls at school who were confident and pretty and knew how to do their hair and makeup. I would try to wear the cutest outfits, but I still just felt embarrassed by the way that I looked.
Honestly, being a chameleon was working. I remember in high school, on a Friday after school, I was going through the halls and I knew everybody. Everybody knew my name. I was giving hugs and high fives and dabs and fist bumps to everybody. And I was changing in every mode to try to make them know that I am like them. But what would happen on that Friday is I would get on the bus and I would go home, and there would still be no calls and no texts to hang out. I was still being forgotten. And what's worse is because I was trying to be like everybody else, when I was alone, I had no idea who I was.
All right. Yeah, it takes a lot of bravery to be this vulnerable on stage and to share your story. So can we give them one more round of applause? Great. Well, thank you guys for being such good listeners and giving them your attention and respect to share their stories. Now, like yesterday, you're going to have a chance, so don't go yet. In a second, you're going to have a chance to go out with your cabin and process again some of the things that you heard about and what it might look like in your own life. The next thing is not until lunch, which is at 12:30. And so you can take a good amount of time for a long time. If yours is shorter, that's fine. You can do something else until lunch once you're done. Kind of get some direction from your leader about what that might look like. But it's going to be free all the way up until lunch, or you'll hear a horn signifying the 10 minutes. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Shh. So get the clues from your leaders about what you guys are going to do. Leaders, before you leave, one person from each cabin can come down, grab your supplies. There's 3 things again. When you're done, because it's kind of a rolling done time, you'll just bring the supplies back to the bench in front of the club room. Sound good? Great, thanks guys. There's materials on both sides.
You will be found.